Hi and welcome to What Remains. My name's Pete and on this series we're following the Driffield to Selby Railway. This line closed in 1960s under the Beeching Axe. What you can see behind me is what remains of Everingham railway station, which is now private residence. We've got an original gate post there and we're well on our way to Selby now. So the next station along our stop will be Holme station, which is Holme upon Spalding Moor station. So we'll get down there and we'll show you the sights, and I'll show you anything I find in the hedge bottoms, raking around and seeing what remains of this railway line. I hope you can see what's behind me up there, them gates. That is where the up platform starts and I'm stood where it finishes, which is here. All the way up there. It's a huge long platform. It's longer than Driffield railway station. Now my brother seems to think it might have been this long so that the trains would stop all the way down this end, or the locomotive, sorry, all the way down this end, so that the carriages are not stopping over the crossing. Let's not forget this was a huge busy line for excursions going to the coast, going up to the holiday camps and the seaside, so that's possibly why. Now I did have a quick look down here last week and I do remember seeing an original gate post. I say gate post, I mean fence post. So I'm running up here on top of the embankment because it now goes into a cutting down there, and just in here we've got that old concrete post with the ironwork inside there still, and that will probably have attached to more along the top of the embankment. Now we're going to go all the way down this line and we're going to see what we can find. Oh, hang on, just before I go anywhere, just on the floor here, look at that. We've got another concrete post, so there will have been all the way down this side. Not looked at the other side yet, but nothing obvious. Just a field length away you can possibly still see Everingham railway station behind me. This is our first gully, drainage ditch, after leaving Everingham. Now there's nothing really to see except for gullies. This would have been here during the time of the railway, because you can see how flat this land is all around there, and then you can see a church right up on the hill in the background there. But I'll turn you around and I'll show you this drainage ditch. Now it's just here. It's a deep one, it'll be 15 to 18 feet deep. I can see the concrete there, it's got a concrete fascia on it. This one is marked on the maps. It's got a new fascia at this side and we can't see the one at the other side. This could have been a farmer's crossing at one time, because it's a natural end to the fields with the drainage dyke being here. You can see our kid in the background there. We're just going to have a rummage around in this hedge bottom to see if we can see anything. If we can't, we'll just walk down the line and we'll take you down to our next drainage ditch, which I think is the next thing down there. So the land is fairly flat around here. The cutting didn't get much more than 6 or 8 feet deep, and already we're on a slight embankment. Looking back towards Everingham, not much, 4 feet. Same at the other side. Probably not going to get much more than steady undulating land with slight embankments, slight cuttings. See you get ahead. I think that's where our next drainage ditch is. Hopefully we're going to see some original brickwork and things like that on the way down there, but we won't know until we get there. Now down at the next gully, there's nothing to see. It's been dug out, thoroughly modernised, but I have got a treat for you. There is something else here to see. Excuse my shadow in there. It's this fence post here, look, with the tensioners on. Still there. Nice big chunky post. All the ironwork still on. And we've still got wire going round it dug into the ground there, unfortunately. And then we've got some at this side as well. But it's not an isolated post because they do go down to about where our drainage ditch is and possibly beyond, but I can't see any. We're back onto a slight embankment still. It's going to be like that all the way. We'll get back on the track and we'll get down towards our next station and we'll stop and show you anything else that remains of this railway line. Walking down the embankment now, it's changed. It's lined with trees and it's really quite picturesque. Where I decided to stop and do this, there's something quite special around here, and I'm going to point a few things out to you. So as you can see, this is towards Selby, lined with trees, looking quite nice. We've got to go through all that, but around where I'm stood, me and my brother study these maps intently on our days off, and there was a signal post around here. I've not found a signal post, so don't get too excited. So what we have found is we've got another chunky fence post down there. This will be a supporting one that's braced at the bottom, probably where they do the tensioning and tightening to get the wires nice and tight. But on the other side, there was a signal post around here. I think this is the down line at this side. Now the signal post was around here somewhere and I spotted that fence post down there, but then closer to the track bed we've got this, still with a pulley on it. This would have been controlled from one of the signal boxes, most likely Everingham, because as they're going up this way towards Everingham they need the signals to know whether they can go straight through, slow down, stop, and this will be one of the controllers from there to move the semaphores into the positions. So that's quite a nice little find. I am going to put a load of photographs up at the end of this video, so please stay around for those. There'll be other things what we've photographed that you've not seen along the way. What we're going to do now is carry on down towards Holme Station, and again we will continue to stop and show you anything of any interest that remains. Found something quite special. I can get down to it, and I told you at the beginning I'm going to go in edge bottoms and do all sorts to get what I can find. Now we're at our third drainage ditch. This is the first one that I've been able to get into and show you what's actually down here. This is the best side. The track bed is up there, and then there's another one at the other side which I can't really get to, so we're only going to look at this side today. I'll turn the camera around. Up on the embankment, just up there, we've got concrete post, but we've also got remains of a wooden fence post as well here. We haven't seen many of those in this section of the railway, so it was worth bringing you down. Now this is what we've got down here. We have got an original facing and brickwork and drainage ditch. Now it's too small for me to get into, but I'm hoping that that camera is there, is showing you the brickwork inside that drainage ditch. That's been there since the railway is built. And we can see it's got a bit of mud washing through it these days, but you can still see the brickwork there. I've not seen any bricks that are loose with any brick makers' names on it, but I am looking out for things like that. How incredible is that? Time to get back up on the line and I'll show you what else remains. With our previous pulley quite a way down there now, we've got the remains of another one here, sticking in the ground a lot further, but it is more complete because we do have this part on the top, this guide. and it actually still spins as well. On the back of there we've got that side fastening it in. Nice. It does have writing on there. It looks like NER.
North Eastern Railway.
Yeah. Amazing. What a lovely piece to have that. We'll continue on. Down to another gully. We can see this one. I can't get down into this side, and I'll show you the other side over there. But in between, something has happened, and we can see down into the brickwork, so I'll show you that as well. I hope you can see that in there. We can see the brickwork arch. We've got a little bit of fencing through there, which we'll get to. This is all non-original. And we can see the other side of this gully over there, and we'll go there next. And then I'm also going to discuss what I think this is. So this is the other side. It's deep. It's probably about 10 feet deep. I can't get down into there. It's full of water. I'll probably sink another foot down into there, but it's got the original fascia and brickwork through there, and we can see the arch. Take note of this expanse. This is where I was, just over there. But here looks like it's collapsed and been dug out, because in there you can still see, still arched, still got the brickwork. We've had a bit of a rummage around, but we can't see any bricks from it, and hoping to find any maker's marks on them. But this has been collapsed and dug out. Now what I think this is, there's some ironwork in there. It looks like there was a gate, but we're uncertain. I mean, we're just hypothesising on that it was a gate for here. If I come through, I can show you it. Whether this was a gate for where we're at now, because this was a farmer's crossing. This one we can positively identify as a farmer's crossing. There was most likely other ones at the other drainage, because there are natural ends to the fields which will allow a crossing to come in. Not a lot left here. We've got a gate, potentially it could have been, farmers blocked it off. But then when we come to this side, you can see this huge great lump of ivy here. Now this is an original gate post. Just sat there like that, still here after all these years. And we've got the ironwork down there to confirm that. When I say original, it's more than likely a later edition, because all the railway ones tend to have more of a curved top, whereas this one has been sawn off to a pointed top. This side's broken off. This is probably where the other side of the ironwork was that held the gate in place, which is probably down on the floor there somewhere. If we had a metal detector or could rummage about down there, we'd probably be able to find it. Again, it's the story of all these had to get through was a horse and cart. So the other gate post was probably only about there. Same at the other side. But that's been pulled out long ago as farm equipment has got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'll tell you about the natural crossings, you see. Edge of your field. Yeah, there's a farmer, this is potential, well that's a later edition, is that. Because you can see, these days they only put plastic pipes in. They don't do with the brick arches and brickwork like that. So that's a later edition, and this is where they would have crossed over into that field, and that's probably been blocked off now because it's by a different farmer. So we're going to continue on. That was a really nice, interesting thing to see. And we'll get down to our next station. I've quickly switched it on. We're not far from that crossing at all, which is literally just there, because we're back onto wooden fence posts down here. These are most likely original. There's a sign there saying danger, keep out building site, because behind there now is modern sewerage works. That was never there. But there are a few of these fence posts going down. It's time for me and my brother to get back on the railway line There are some wooden fence posts at this side as well. Nice to see that those are still in situ. So I'm now fast approaching Holme Station. We haven't seen anything along the track for a long while. Nothing left. All being pulled up or rotted away. There's hardly any embankments, hardly any cuttings. There's very slight undulations in the land, but if you look, it's pretty much fairly flat. Now you can see the trees here. These were never there because these would have all been managed, all been cut back because of the risk of fires from the trains that were using these. Steam fire powered, and then the firebox is emptied out onto the railway line as they're moving along. The locomotives would have come trundling along here at high speeds. That's why you could get to Leeds from Bridlington in like an hour and 40 minutes or something, I think it was. But it's all flat. Now when the railway was disused, originally it would have all been flat, exposed. They've come, taken the line up and they've left fence posts, whatever else. Here they're unprotected, and they'd have been open to the elements before the wildlife started coming in and the trees and the undergrowth growing back to protect it. So it's all been lost. Same with down here. You can see fence posts there. These are not the original railway fence posts. And down there in the distance you can see we're approaching civilization, which is where Holme Moor station is. So we'll try and get down there, and if there's anything else on the way we'll show you. When these railway lines were in operation, the landscape would have been very different. The field sizes would have been much smaller as well. Sometimes when you're walking these railway lines, things are thrown up that you don't expect, and I've got one of those behind the camera right now. Now I suspect the field behind me was much smaller than what it is, because what we've got here is a farmer's crossing post. Railway era. We've got that shape at the top with the round. We've got the ironwork. This is the catch side of the gate. So the side what the gate was fastened to would have been probably about there. We've had a look at the other side. We can't see a great deal except for this big tree here. That big dark tree there is ivy, but in the centre there is a huge cluster. It could have grown up around one of these on the other side. We don't know. It would have had to have been an oblique crossing if that's the case. We're going to continue on down the line and get to Holme Station. A little bit further down the line we came across two huge lumps of ivy. Now, have you seen in earlier on in the video and previous videos that ivy grows up around these fence posts? We think we found a couple of gate posts along the track. Nothing to match on the other side, but these two just stuck out like a sore thumb. I've stripped the ivy back off one of them and I'll show you what we've got. So this is what it looked like, just a clump of ivy out in nowhere, and I've stripped it back. And this is not a fence post, it's a gate post, but I can't find any metal work on it. It's got a chamfered edge, flat chamfered edge, and it's like that on the other side. And we've got a pointed top here. That one's there. Now about 10 feet away, where my brother is, he has got his far hand on the other one. So there was clearly something here, or was going to be something here, but I've got no metal work on this side and we can't find any metal work on that side. So potentially have we got a lost or unfinished farmer's crossing? Again, nothing to match at the other side. The railway is a slight cut in here, probably only about 4 feet, something like that. We're going to continue on. Continuing further down the line, we've got another drainage ditch. Can't really see this side, but the other side, I'll show you it. As you can see, it goes in there. I don't know if you can pick up on camera, but I can see a brick arch. Now it don't look very big, but when we go to the other side, it is actually quite surprising. Now what we see down there is the original archwork, the brick, typical of the period. Not like later on in the line where we've got fancy brickwork. This is really quite straightforward. I'm not going to go down in there and shine any torches, but you can see how muddy that is, and you can see the brick sides in there. Not far from the station now. We'll continue on. We have made it. We are at Holme Moor station, Holme upon Spalding Moor. Changed to Holme Moor because Holme and Spalding Moor was far too long a name apparently. I'm stood on the track bed, and this is quite a treat of a station. There are a few things here to show you. So this had two facing platforms. This is the down platform, which is in remarkable condition really. They're exactly opposite each other, the facing platforms. There is some behind that fence there, and on this side we can see that the fence is the boundary marker of gardens, and the platform is remaining in situ. Going back to the down platform, that hedge marks the boundary of the back of the platform. Some of it is a little bit overgrown, but it needs a bit more maintenance on some of this. But at the back there we can see we've got fence posts, and then a little bit further down we've got mock railway fencing. Now that's the station building what we're approaching now. Holme Moor railway station was a station on the Driffield to Selby line, or Selby to Driffield, in the East Riding of Yorkshire, and served the village of Holme upon Spalding Moor. It opened as Holme on the 1st of August 1848 when that station opened. I'm going to climb up onto this platform here. Which is pretty cool to walk up here, because I'd have been waiting for a train at one time. You can see we've got our mock railway fencing there. Now it didn't appear on timetables until 1851. And now this is all part of the Budworth rail trail now. And on the other side we can see, sadly we've lost some copings there, but it's pretty good at the other side as well. I don't know where they've gone sadly, but the railway house is beautiful, well maintained. It's a private residence, and it has had some extensions on it. It did have a waiting room and a booking office to the right hand side of what we're looking at here, but that was knocked down. And I've got some photographs of this railway station, and I will show you those at the end of the video. Now this was the railway crossing here, and the signal box was at the other side down there. You can be able to see a railway carriage roof here. I'll be able to tell you all about that shortly. So moving down onto the track bed, we have a station house there. This is where our waiting rooms were here, being demolished, and they were demolished I believe in the 70s. But what we've got here is an original crossing. Look at this. We have got the 1, 2, 3 gate posts there for some kind of kiss gate to get up onto the platform. Boundary marker post there, and then all the way down. If I cross the road, this is even more exciting because we've got an original crossing post here. This is where the gates were that would have gone across, the big white gates with the red disc on that would have stopped traffic from crossing this lane. Now you can see how small a lane this is today, and it would have been more of a dirt track when this station was built. But what's exciting about this is we know what went on there, and I can show you that now because the gates are here. Not much of them, but they're here. We've dug them out, we found them. These are the original crossing gates. These are what's left. We've got the metalwork there. We've got the reinforcing crossing posts there, metalwork there, and we did a little bit more digging. What we have here is the catchment. That's the top, that's the underneath, so this is the top of the gate, that's the bottom, that would have gone on that gate post like that. Now it was quite a big station for what was here. I mean, there's nothing here. It was just a small village and a few miles away from the village. It was originally again opened as a single track and doubled in 1889. Now this place here, where the gates are, this is where the signal box was, and it was a 17 lever signal box. It was on a downside, so there's our down platform. The up platform is where the station house is, and the site comprised of 3 sidings, 2 parallel sidings serving a goods loading docks and a third serving coal drops. There was a weighbridge and an office to the entrance of the yard. I'm going to show you that as well, because we need to go over there, because for such a small place, where those new buildings are there used to be a pub called the Spotted Cow on old maps, but once the railway came, that pub changed its name to the Railway Hotel. Now, I've just speaking to a local, and he was telling me he used to go drinking in there, and it was knocked down somewhere around the mid-1990s. I've been trying my best to get a picture of that hotel, but I can't. So if you have, tell me. This is the site of what was once the coal yard and the sidings. All this, it's all been redeveloped, it's all been demolished, and now we've got this big sugar mill by the looks of it. The only thing really that's original around here now is the row houses up there, a couple of little cottages, and then the railway house, which has the railway carriage in there. All the goods platforms have gone. Holme Moor was one of the busiest intermediate stations on the line, and it was a profitable station. That's probably why it got a hotel. Its main product was potatoes, and for during the harvest season it also had a porter as well. Now, the village had a population of the time of 1,716 people, and in 1 year alone it sold 6,259 tickets. It also had livestock which were loaded up at the station, and now it's been turned into a beautiful residence. So the carriage that we could see in the back there is an original railway goods wagon that used to be on this actual line. So with nothing left of the goods yard, there is nothing left of the platform that was once here. Some of the pictures I'm putting up will show the edge of the platform against the edge of the station there. I'll also pop a little map up, but there's nothing left. So Holme Moor station, but in the background there's a railway carriage. It's the shell of a goods wagon. I can tell you that goods wagon used to run on this line. Lady up at the next station spoke to us. She's not actually the station owner, but somebody who lives nearby, owned 2 of those wagons that were left there when this railway line was taken up. Now sadly one of them got completely destroyed, and our friend happens to live here. So she gave her that wagon there, and that's what remains of it today. Now the final thing for us to do is take the drone up and have a look along the line and where we're going to be going next, to the next station in the next episode. Now, if you've enjoyed this episode, I'm covering all sorts of things on the railways and other things about history. But the next episode of this series, we're going to be going down to the next station. So I hope to see you in that episode. So please subscribe to the channel, it's completely free. Lets me know that you're enjoying this kind of content, and I can film more then. In the meantime, please take care. Goodbye.